Oi oi! And welcome to the Orient Outlook podcast, sponsored by Carol Langley Florist, with myself, Steve Nussbaum. As always, I'm joined by my good friend, my South Down chum, the bearded legend, the one and only, the Daddy-O. He's back. I bet he wishes he wasn't, though. It's Mr. Paul Levy.
Yeah, could have done with this week off, to be honest. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode number 383, and thanks as always to everyone who tuned into last week's show, and a special thanks to Chris for stepping in at such short notice. My voice wasn't going to last anywhere near long enough, so failed a late fitness test there. Appreciate that. This week we've got two games to go through. Unfortunately, obviously they're not good games, they're not positive games, but we'll do our best to get through those. And the week that was, a few bits and pieces to catch you up on. But as always, we start with a word from our podcast sponsor.
Yeah, we certainly do. The podcast is sponsored by Carol Langley Florist. They're based in Chingford and have served the borough of Waltham Forest and the surrounding area for over the last 70 years. They've got a fantastic team there. You can do anything that you like, from bespoke weddings, family funerals, birthdays, anniversaries, manager anniversaries, which we'll come on to a bit later on in the podcast, and offer all those fans and staff 15% off, which is a wonderful saving. So if you're interested, if you need flowers for anything, you can get in touch with John and his team. You can give the shop a call. They can be found on 0208 529 4130. You can go have a look online. You can go and visit their website. They can be found at www.carollangley.co.uk, or you can find the team on social media. They're on all the major platforms. They're on Instagram at Carol Langley Florists, on Twitter at Carol Langley E4, and they're also on Facebook at Carol Langley Florist.
They are indeed. Supporters Club update, 2 trips to tell you about here. Saturday the 15th of March, we're off up to the coast. We're off up to Blackpool. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff, surprisingly, and coaches will leave the Supporters Club at 8 o'clock. That's quite a big journey. That's £48 return there. Concessions are 45 and kids are 24 quid.
You done it a few years ago, didn't you?
I did.
To see Jens Jant score.
I did. Our last EFL goal in what had been an illustrious period of us being in the Football League.
Yes.
Yeah, I did, with John, our podcast sponsor.
Yeah.
From Carol Langley. Yeah, we did that in about 4 hours.
Mission.
Nice day out. But nice day out,
Yeah.
just not for the occasion.
Yeah,
Not for the occasion, it's a shame. But I did Blackpool away. Saturday the 22nd of March, we're going up to Mansfield in Nottinghamshire, 3 o'clock kickoff as well. So that's 2 away trips now, back to back, that we're going to be doing. Coaches are leaving at 9:30. Cost for that one, adults at 35 quid, concessions at 32, kids at £18, and obviously those prices don't include your match day ticket, and you now need to call the travel line to book on for those trips or any others for the remainder of this season on 07507 539 579.
I think it probably worth pointing out that Mansfield falls on an international weekend, which hasn't been postponed yet, but my outlook sensory senses tell me that might get postponed, based on every other international weekend game that we've had this season has been postponed for one reason or another, due to call-up. So maybe hold and booking that one if you're umming and ahhing until the end of this week, but I imagine it probably gets called off. But I went to Mansfield when we won League 2 and saw a 2-1 win there. Nice ground. Liked it. Quite easy to get to as well. Very welcoming fan base. So have a safe journey up there if you are going. But yeah, I'd expect that one to probably get moved. There's also a beer festival in the Supporters Club, Thursday the 13th of March. Doors open at 4 p.m. Entries free, whether you're a member or not. It's got a selection of ales from all over the country. The usual homemade rolls are on offer. Always good events, these. Always kind of win awards for their work. So well done to the Supporters Club on another fantastic season so far.
Let's move on to the week that was then, and happy Monday the 3rd of March. Quiet day at the club. No news to report, so let's move on.
Let's do it. To a Tuesday the 4th of March, as the O's went away to old foes, Rotherham United, also known as the Alex Ravel derby. Every time I say his name, I just think of that horrible goal that ruined everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Great goals. He'll never score that again in his life. Well, he would never have scored that again in his life anyway. The team for this one was announced at 6:45. Keeley in goal. Galbraith, Reg, Cooper and Sweeney the back four. Brown and Ball in front of them. Donnelly, Marcandy and Ajay, with Kelman leading the line up top. Subs were Phillips, Clare, Pratley, Abdullahi, DJ, Perkins and Williams.
All right, so that lineup meant there were 2 changes to the O's from the weekend defeat at home to Charlton, as in came Don Ball and Dan Adji returned to the lineup. For me, I saw that and was quite optimistic. I mean, that front three of McCanday, Adji and Kelman, that's a quick and pacey front three. So I thought maybe Richie has seen their back line and thought it might be a bit slow. Maybe good opportunity to take advantage. Obviously, McCanday hasn't played much football, so good to see him back in the starting lineup. And also, strong bench there. There's a few options. You've got Williams and Perkins, DJ and Abdullah. So from an attacking sense, you've got kind of 4 players who you can rely on. Pratley's Sean Clare's quality. You can play him along the back and you can play him in midfield. So I quite like that. I thought it was pretty much a decent team. Quite confident going into that. You?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think it was a decent team. I think I pretty much guessed most of that. Obviously, Sweeney goes in naturally because Jack Coe's obviously serving the second of his 3-game suspension. But good to see Mark Handy being given an opportunity. He's tricky, he's pacey, he's got a low centre of gravity, he can really turn and weave quite quickly, and obviously we know that they're sort of a big strong group of players. They're not exactly the most agile group, I think, in the Rotherham squad. A team on paper that should get a result.
Fairly confident going into this one, right? So I think Rotherham were like 14th, topsy-turvy season, I think it's fair to say for them. They've probably massively underperformed. I think everyone thought they'd be doing better than what they are. So confidence was high going into this one, despite kind of the last
the trap.
3 results, right?
That's the trap.
Yeah, it was the trap. Neil Langhorne started off the tweets to us by saying, "Good to see Dan Adji starting. Should cause problems."
Yeah, Vixen Peace, that's a new Twitter account. Welcome to the show. Strong side considering injuries. Let's get behind our team and stick it to those dodgy EFL refs. Gareth Ainsworth would agree. And recover from Charlton Athletic cheats who think they're Vinnie Jones and celebrate how far we've come. Come on, you O's. Good tweet, that.
All right, the match kicked off with the O's looking to bounce back from 3 defeats on the trot against our old foe, Steve Evans, and a Rotherham team, like we said, who have had a disappointing season so far.
Rotherham started slightly stronger, and thanks to good clearance header from Jaden Sweeney and other than a comfortable catch by Josh Keeley, it didn't really create too much.
All right, we're going to skip to the 23rd minute, a moment of quality in our build-up play as the ball found its way to Jamie Donnelly, and his through pass found Don Ball, which the covering defender cleared, but was judged to have been fouled by Ball, and a free kick was given to the home team.
Yeah, a minute later, Dan Ajay did well to hold off his man, drove in from the right, tested Phillips in the Rotherham goal, who made a straightforward save. Now, apparently, Phillips in the Rotherham goal is the brother of Noah Phillips on our bench.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
Oh.
Fact fans out there.
Nice one.
Can double check that, but apparently that is true story.
Goalkeeping must run in the family. Yeah, I wonder if the dad ever played professional. Good point. A minute later, Charlie Kelman was next. He tested Phillips after he held off Zach Jules, got a shot away, and Phillips made a decent save actually at his near post, and Jamie Donnelly headed over from the resulting corner. So good spell of play here from the O's, causing them problems, especially Dan Adji.
Yeah, absolutely. 31 minutes on the clock now. Dan Ajay was causing more problems for Rotherham. After the ball came to him out wide, he drove into the box, took a shot, which Phillips parried. Charlie Kelman couldn't quite capitalise on the rebound.
Bit too fast.
Good save.
Yeah, good save.
Yeah.
Adji again really causing problems there. Left back was not having a comfortable game there. Josh Keeley was called into action in the 37th minute after Wilkes beat Jaden Sweeney to a cross into our box. His downward header though was weak. No problems for Josh.
38 minutes now, and some excellent defending from the O's eventually saw a superb ball over the top from Jamie Donnelly to Charlie Kelman, but his shot was well away from the Rotherham goal.
Alright, despite a break in play due to Rotherham having an injured player, only 2 minutes of additional time, and in the first minute, a mazy run from Dan Adji saw his shot deflect up into the air, and Phillips, who had dived to make the initial save, clawed the ball away, having to return his body.
Yeah, did well there.
Good save.
Yeah, it was a good bit of goalkeeping that.
When results were going our way,
that falls to us.
Goes in the back of the net.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just the way it's going at the moment. Phillips making a good save. No further news to report. This one for the first half came to a close as the teams went in goalless at the break.
They did. 8,106 went to this match, with 259 making the journey up from East London. Credit to you all for doing that on a Tuesday night.
Absolutely, well done. No changes for the O's at half time. In the first minute, an early chance for Don Ball following a corner, but he fired over.
Fast forward now to the 57th minute, dangerous moment for the O's. Josh Keeley made a vital save to deny Nombe from close range after a long ball over the top from Phillips. Wasn't dealt with. Route 1 direct football there.
Very basic there, wasn't it? We looked a bit panicked there, not very comfortable with the long balls coming into our box. And in the 59th minute, Rotherham took the lead as they had a corner, played short, cross came into the box, the initial header was blocked, ball came out to Sibley, whose cross shot via deflection off Jaden Sweeney found its way into the far corner of the net from a tight angle to make it 1-0 to the hosts.
Yeah, poor defending from us. Sweeney, I think, is probably the main culprit there, but there are one or two others that probably could have, should have, would have done much better. The goal's gone down as an own goal to Sweeney, so it's obviously a deflection off of him. But yeah, it shouldn't have been in a position that should have gone out that far to him.
I think Sweeney has to do better. I'm loath to kind of bash Sweeney, but if he kind of just sticks his foot out, he blocks it, as opposed to he kind of almost air kicks it into the goal. But I mean, that Sibley was at Derby last season. I think he scored against us a couple of times. Sibley, good player, but disappointing. To go a goal down. Okay, 66 minutes in, double sub for the O's as Danagy was replaced by Wandell Williams and Dylan McCarnday was replaced by DJ.
Yeah, Charlie Kelman had his head in his hands in the 69th minute as Jordan Brown did well to drive forward. He got the ball in the box. Rotherham defence tripped over one another and were unable to clear the ball, which fell kindly to DJ, who squared it to Charlie Kelman, who was inside the penalty area, pretty much by himself, goal gaping, and he blazed it over from about 8 or 9 yards out.
Very
shocking for me, is the word I'm going to use.
I'd say uncharacteristic
this
season. I think when you're watching it in real time, I think fair play to DJ, great pass, puts it
100%.
Puts it on a plate.
Yeah.
Puts it on a plate for Kelman, and the ball's running towards him, and you're thinking it's 1-0 here.
Yeah, 100%.
You expect to see that net bulge.
Yep.
And I think even the Rotherham defence expect to see the net bulge. Keeper's rooted to the spot, Phillips, and Kelman just lashes.
To me, that's harder to miss than it is to score.
For a professional footballer, I probably agree.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Has to score from there, or at least hit the target. If the keeper happens to save it, or it deflects off a defender and out, okay. But arguably, 15 goal this season, Charlie Kelman should be scoring that.
Oh, he knows that. You wouldn't need to have to tell him twice.
I would never go up to him and say, you should have scored that goal. Because that's like prize for stating the obvious, right? Captain Obvious is not sort of hat that I want to wear for that conversation, you know?
I think when that happened, I think you're thinking,
it's not
just blow the full-time whistle now, ref. Just get it over done with
just
again.
Give him the 3 points.
You talk about having like that luck in your corner, and when it's going for you, Kelman just scores that easily, doesn't even think about it. But when it's not going your way, it's not going your way. In the 74th minute, patient O's at play. So Jamie Donnelly cut inside from the left, and he sent an effort which just went wide of the far post. Again, decent effort there from Donnelly, but never could have played for a month of Sundays in that game and not scored.
Yeah, triple sub for the O's as Charlie Kelman was replaced by Sonny Perkins. Jamie Donnelly was replaced by Sean Clare, and Don Ball was replaced by Azim Abdullah, with Jordan Brown taking the captain's armband. 80 minutes, too late to be doing subs to give the players 10 plus injury. 10 minutes, not really enough to impact the game, is it?
Not sure. I mean, he talks about Richie talks about fatigue creeping into the team. I think he says Donnelly in particular. So he's giving Donnelly 80 minutes. So I know why you'd want to keep Donnelly on the pitch. Obviously,
one moment of brilliance,
talented lad, but at the same time, if you need to get minutes, and again, he needed to get minutes into Sean Clare on Tuesday, and he's only given him 10 minutes. So
but he needs to be eased back. That substitution I get,
possibly.
But why not give him 20 minutes plus?
I think the one you look at there and you go, if you really need a goal, why are you bringing up? To me, it's Perkins, maybe 10 minutes. Yeah. Clare for Donnelly isn't really an attacking move, so you go, alright, fair. But I think for me, Azim Abdullah, who started like a house on fire, literally scores a hat-trick in his second game for Orient, looks mustard.
Yeah.
And since that hat-trick, whether he picked up something in training and isn't working at full capacity or whatever, it's not the same as Azim Abdullah, is it? From the one we saw, and he's when you're 1-0 down, you'd imagine he's probably one of the first names. I mean, put it into context, no disrespect to DJ, but DJ's getting on in the 66th minute ahead of Azim Abdullah, which when you look at it in terms of putting those two players up against each other, you'd go, who would you fancy to nick you a goal, either DJ or Azim? I think most Orient fans would probably say Azim.
Yeah.
Really, but the fact Azim's getting 15 more minutes game time, DJ is in that game, probably tells you that he might not be as high up the pecking order. Or again, is it Richie? And again, I think we've been quite critical of Richie in the last couple of weeks. Is it Richie thinking ahead, going, I don't really want to use Azim tonight because I'm already thinking ahead to what I'm doing against Northampton.
So, because we can snatch this game. This game's there for the taking.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing, but I think there's been points this season where Richie's running before he can walk in terms of he's thinking about the next game when he's in the current game.
I don't think he thinks like that too much. I think he looks at a game. Maybe he will think, well, actually bring Donny off so I can rest him. He's done enough. Give someone else fresh legs and put him in that position. But I don't think it's necessarily specifically so that I can play him in the next game. I think it's just that player needs a rest, or that player needs changing, or I need to tactically change things.
Yeah, it must be a reason why.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I don't think it's because he's got one eye on Saturday.
Possibly.
To be honest.
Possibly. We'll have to. I guess next time we're on the pod, we can kind of ask him the reasoning behind some of the decisions. I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be interesting to know. But anyway, triple sub, 10 minutes left. Jordan Browns and Sonny Perkins did well in the 88th minute, with the latter taking a good touch to take the ball away from two defenders, but shooting wide, slightly off balance. Again, Perkins slightly kind of lashed at that one. Yeah. Disappointing finish from Sonny there.
4 minutes of additional time went up on the board, and in the first minute, Abdullah was booked for shoving as he was delayed getting the ball.
Yeah, no further talking points in this one. The ref balled it to a close, with the O's losing their fourth game in a row, slipping to a 1-0 defeat at the New York Stadium.
Indeed. So that loss, coupled with other results, means that we dropped to 9th in League One. We've now played 35 games. We have won 16 of them. We have drawn 5 and lost 16. We've got a goal difference of positive 15, and we are on 53 points. And at this point in time, we're 5 points off the playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, on Tuesday, Charlton beat Barnsley 1-0. So to pull away further from us, and also Bolton beat Birmingham at home 3-1. Yeah. So Bolton, Schumacher's got them going. I think it's probably fair to say it's probably one of the informed teams. Charlton, we all know about their form, obviously facing them last week. So results really didn't go in our favour. I think the only one that did was Huddersfield losing on Tuesday, that you look at and go, all right, that kind of keeps us up there, which we're happy with. So not the best of nights on Tuesday all round for results for us and in other fixtures as well. All right, Billy Legende, I believe you were watching it live on Sky Sports Plus.
I did, yeah.
Your views on the game?
I mean, I thought we were poor, to be honest, at times. I thought Kelman culprit for missing so many good opportunities to score. That gilt-edged chance, he knows he should be doing better. Sweeney perhaps should have done better, but like I said earlier, I think he was set up to fail there because he was marking a player that was much taller, much bigger. It was a complete mismatch. And collectively as a defensive unit, sorry, I'm getting confused with yesterday's goal. Sweeney, I think, should have done better in terms of his defensive position and not, like you said, not just whacking it, but just dealing with it much better. And collectively as a defensive unit, that's another corner, another set piece that's gone to the back post, and we're all sitting there doing what? Don't know why Richie makes a triple sub in the 80th, like I mentioned before, when we're chasing the game. I think you get them on sooner so that they weren't given enough of a chance to make an impact. I think that's probably something for Richie. Feels like performance levels have dropped and we're not really impacting games like we used to. The subs aren't as impactful. We don't seem to be at the levels that we have seen them playing, and we've now lost 4 games, and if the playoffs were possible, and if they are still possible, we've got to snap out of this downward spiral that we seem to be on.
Fair. I mean, I didn't watch it live, but obviously disappointing result. I think Rotherham were probably there for the taking.
Yeah. They weren't anything special, which makes it more frustrating.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does.
We haven't been outplayed. It's not like we've turned up and they've just turned up at a level above us.
No, again, they've got the goal and then they've defended it, and we haven't been able to get back into it. Although we have had the chances, I think my kind of initial reaction is this the start of the wheels falling off? I mean, I thought Rotherham would be difficult in terms of, again, big club, come down, decent manager who's got a decent record against us, although I'm kind of loath to say it. He's a decent manager at League One level and wins more games than he loses historically in this one. But yeah, a few questions around kind of team selection and, like you say, the substitutions. But at this point, you think you're still in it. if you go on a run and win your last 11 games of the season, ultimately you'll make the playoffs regardless of what happens kind of elsewhere. So you look at it and go, disappointing, but it's not over yet. That was it from me.
Yeah,
I didn't really have much more to say on that
That's
one.
fine. So those were our views. We had a lot of feedback that came in after this, so thanks to everyone who took the time to share your views to our social media accounts. And just because we're about to read a bunch of them, it doesn't mean that we agree with them. Ringle_44 said, way too complacent. Sweeney is a calamity waiting to happen, and Markande looks scared. Abdullah does nothing off the bench, and Cooper couldn't connect a pass in Mastermind. So poor.
Yeah, new Twitter handle for me, that one. Lovely_Orient said, not looked the same since Cooper came in for Happy or Simpson. Another poor result, probably the average of where the squad is at the moment, with win needed on Saturday to have any hope of putting pressure on the top six.
I mean, in defence, we've lost Happy and we've lost Beckles.
We've lost the back four.
Yeah, and you lose Curry and Tom James, right? So we've lost all the... Or not that Tom James was first choice at right back anyway, because obviously Galbraith has been playing there.
Well, that's the point. I've got this point after Northampton, so jumping slightly ahead. I believe now when Tom James is fit, Galbraith goes into midfield, because that's what he was doing up until James's injury. So when we spanked Mansfield and like that little run before that, Galbraith was actually playing in the midfield and running it. But obviously since James has been injured, and obviously that corresponds with Claire being injured, Richie has dropped Galbraith back, which I think has had a massive detrimental effect to the team, pretty much. And like you just said, take away Happy and Beckles, who are the first choice centre backs. Take away Curry, who obviously got sent off at Birmingham, so that's pretty much 4 games he hasn't played because he pretty much didn't play 80 minutes against Birmingham. And so you've played Birmingham away, Charlton at home, Rotherham United away, and Northampton Town at home, with effectively none of your first 4 defenders. But ultimately, so...
Shows our strength in depth isn't where it needs to be, though, at times.
Well, totally.
Some of the frailties.
Sweeney's been decent up until this current run of games. I mean, he's been found out a very high level of opposition. But in saying that, he played well against Wrexham, which was like the Tuesday before. And Birmingham, although Laird gave him a very tough time, but Laird was a very good defender, to be fair. Yeah. And then he was up against a tricky winger against Charlton, who had 2 good wingers, to be fair, on either side. So maybe against the lesser teams, Sweeney is alright and he's adept. Maybe when you get to the top end of it, he finds it more difficult.
He's not a championship left back. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, I think that's.
I think that's
massively.
Birmingham, who are
massively fair
on their way to the championship, and Charlton potentially.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Galbraith, I'd say, is a championship midfielder as a right back. He's been found out a few times in the last couple of weeks. I'd say Charlton definitely targeted him, and both their corners came from his side, where he was out of position to concede the corners. Being brutally honest, and I think he's found it difficult. I think he found it very difficult yesterday, especially up against Roberts at points when Roberts kept taking him wide and basically taking him out of the game. Cooper has been disappointing. I think it's fair to say. I think Reg has done well, to be fair. But I think also this run also corresponds with Keeley suddenly becoming a rabbit in the headlights with corners. That I'd never noticed it really until the Charlton game, but ever since then, the goal comes on Tuesday night for a corner, and I wouldn't expect him to come for that corner on Tuesday, but then we'll come to yesterday's corner goal. He should definitely be coming for that corner yesterday. So it seems like they've all had some confidence kind of poured out of them there, which is a shame. So I guess moving on, Jake_Murphy95 says, absolutely frustrating watching that. Another defeat. Playoffs look virtually out of reach. It's the hope that kills you. One of those games where we could have played until midnight and have scored, as it just wasn't going in. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, great tweet there, Jake. Ryan Peanut said, all Wellens' fault, speaks about squad depth, then leaves Sweeney and Mark Handy on the pitch too long. Subs Adji off, lose to a team like that has been a problem under Richie. With big physical teams, we can't cope and we lose every header.
Alfie Howard 14 says, truly not good enough in the last 5 games. We've been playing entitled football. We do not deserve the playoffs at this point. We had a good January and early Feb. And since Stockport, we've been very poor despite a lucky win at Wrexham. League One is where we belong, and we have to pray for big investment.
Essex, Biz said, absolutely horrendous. Back to typical Leyton Orient again. Totally bottled it against Charlton and Rotherham. 2 poor teams, 5 points adrift of the playoffs now. A lot of ground to make up with just 12 games to go.
Yeah, obviously with each game passing, the games are run out of which you can do something. Theo the Wyvern kept it short and sweet, said we may not be little Leyton Orient anymore, but we're still typical Leyton Orient.
Yeah. Strudelhofer, that's a new one for me.
A few new ones on this episode, yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. Sprinkle these 4 losses through an amazing non-losing streak. They don't look so bad. It seems worse as it's 4 on the bounce, but still think we're outperforming what I expected. Now there's a glimpse of clarity.
Good point.
And balance from Strudelhofer there. We're not interested in your balance. We're not interested in your logic. We just want to moan, mate. No, but in all seriousness, yeah, that's right. You sprinkle that throughout.
Yeah.
You take that, but because it's compacted into this, it's a habit. It's a losing habit now rather than a sprinkling. Yeah, it's a fair point.
And it's hard to turn these little losing streaks around. Once you get in them, they're quite hard to get out of. Masters _James D said Richie bangs on about doing the basics, but we couldn't even muster that. Gave away another goal from a corner. Wasted chances when we had them. Looked one-dimensional, lightweight on the left. And why leave it so long to make changes?
Yeah.
That's the season over. Gone with a whimper.
Orient Fan TV. Defensive injuries are really starting to catch up with us. Don't like to dig out players, but Sweeney is not a patch on Curry. Been saying it for weeks. Take it one game at a time. See where we end up. Playoffs are still within reach, but slowly disappearing over the horizon too.
I think something about Curry, and obviously we'll talk about it coming into the season. I don't think we get Curry back next season, and I don't think we can sign him on a perm. I think it's probably out of our stratosphere. I would say if Oxford United did pay £1 million for him in the summer, which I believe they did, or I'm sure that's what someone's quoted.
Yeah.
There is no way they're selling him at a loss a year later based on what he's done this season.
Yeah.
I can't see us getting him back. So then it kind of comes back to, okay, we're in the same position in the summer as what we were last summer, where we essentially don't have a permanent left back. But I'm running ahead of myself in that world.
Oxford are currently 18th in the Championship. They're 7 points clear of the drop zone. Theoretically, season finishes now. They're safe. Does Jack Curry, having been on loan at a League One club at the top end of League One, does he then go into a Championship side who are arguably going to look to push on? Bearing in mind he's not been able to get in ahead of the 2 that they've already got.
Don't know enough about Oxford United, and obviously they have a managerial.
This is completely hypothetical, but arguably probably not, which makes it more achievable or feasible for him to come back to us on loan for another season and see how that goes.
Possibly. James Eastwood, 83. Obvious to see the loss of Simpson, Beckles and Happy is a massive issue. Building from the back with what would have been our 4th and 5th choice centre-backs is non-existent. I look scared to play football like we have been previously. Next 3 games determine our season.
Ross McCaff said it's over. There's not a team in the 92 that could bounce back from 4 on the bounce. We had no ideas tonight, and Williams at the end with that throw-in summed it up. We look ahead to next season, but some of those players need to take a look at themselves.
One Adam C. It's a great run has come to an end. Can't complain about the backing in January. Good depth brought in, but over-rotating and injuries have badly cost us.
Daniel _D44 said, always going to be tough when we're missing a whole defence. Happy, Beckles, Simpson, Curry, James, 3 attackers in O'Neill, Archibald, Graham, and Ajay is only half fit.
Good point. I like the point that Adam made as well about over-rotating. And I think there's a few points about it yesterday. It's rarely ever the same 3 playing together up top. It's always slightly different. So players got to build relationships and work out how the other one plays. It's very hard to do that when it's not a settled top 3. Same with the back 4 who can't play together that often. It takes time to build those understandings of how it works. At the moment, if you keep changing it up top, those understandings are going to take longer to turn over and happen. Good point about over-rotation.
Yeah.
Orient boy, keep the balance. A great season. 4th round of the Cup, pushing the Premier League champions. Top 10 in League One with 12 games to go. If I was offered that in August, would have grabbed it. We are not a playoff team cemented by the last 3 or 4 games and performances, but we've had a great season, and let's enjoy the final few months.
Charlie_Paul said, same as Saturday. If you don't take your chances, you don't deserve to win. We let ourselves down tonight. We must be more ruthless. The season's not over. Look at the fixtures in the next few weeks. Everyone above us all playing each other, but we need to go on a run starting Saturday. I think our running in our last 12 games, off the top of my head, I think is probably slightly easier apparently than what some of the others above us have got. So you'd hope that some that we're not that far off of start losing to the bigger teams and they pull away, top 4 or 5 pull away, and we've got a chance because our running's slightly easier, or they draw against each other and we win and capitalise that way. Whichever, it'd just be nice just to be in the mix.
I think it's just Wycombe and Huddersfield. I think above us who we've got to play. I think everyone else we've done. Whereas I think a lot of those teams up above have still got to face one another. I think Wrexham and Wycombe now, they're level on points. And I think I've said this before, I think Wycombe fade. Now I think Wycombe drop. Wrexham will take that second place, and no doubt in my mind. And I think Wycombe might continue to climber down. And Huddersfield is anyone's guess at the moment, given that they just sacked their manager.
And put the academy manager
earlier
in charge,
today. So yeah, I mean, you never quite know what's going to happen in the world of football, do you? But good point there from Charlie. 1965801881 has the penultimate tweet, and Rotherham never get too high or too low, except the season are like roller coasters. Injuries and the schedule have caught up with us. A free week next week, so let's see whether that helps. Season not over.
Final word, Casey Adams this week. Pile up of matches alongside some strange decisions from the manager has ultimately ended our season. Can't see us coming back from this. At the start of the season, our aim was staying up, and we've done that. It's the hope that kills you.
Great tweet there from Casey. Thanks to everyone who tweeted us post Rotherham United. Predictionally, only 2 correct predictions, so well done to Steve White, LOFC, and to Amber Mango 69, who predicted the result, got 3 points, and the top of the table roundup will come later on in the podcast.
Yeah, Wednesday the 5th of March was more celebratory as it was a double birthday in the Orient first team camp. Jordan Graham turned 30, hit the big 3-0, and Theo Archibald with his fine hairdo turned 27. So happy birthday to both of you. Hope you had a good day and enjoyed some cakes.
Lovely stuff. On Thursday, the 6th of March, the club announced its nominees for the Goal of the Month for February. What a Goal of the Month competition this is. First up was Jamie Donnelly with that incredible goal against Man City. Next up, Randall Williams against Mansfield, where he absolutely booted the ball into the back of the net. Next up, Ethan Galbraith against Mansfield, that wonderful solo goal. Sonny Perkins versus Lincoln City, the second goal of the game after that lovely run from Ethan Galbraith. Charlie Kelman versus Wrexham. Next up, that lovely turn from Charlie into the far corner. And last nomination was Jamie Donnelly for his beautiful volley against Wrexham. Some absolute worldies in there. I wrote this when the nominees were announced. I presume Jamie Donnelly versus Man City takes it.
Yeah, I think it's probably because of the occasion as well as the actual goal itself. I mean, the goal itself standalone is outstanding.
Ridiculous.
But also when you add in it was FA Cup, when you add in it was against Man City. But yeah, I mean it's tough because there's so many good goals in there.
That could be a goal of the season competition, and you go, there's some bloody good goals in there, and that's literally February.
Yeah. The shortest month of the year, and
insane.
Yeah. So let's move on to Friday the 7th of March. Quiet day with no news to report, so let's move on.
All right, Saturday the 8th of March. We say Happy International Women's Day to all of our female listeners. So Happy International Women's Day.
Absolutely. Happy heavenly birthday to O's legend Laurie Cunningham.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been 69. All right, in the morning, the young O's were in action. Away at league leaders Luton Town. It was the O's who took the lead in the 11th minute through Zachary Hanbury. The hosts equalised in the 29th minute, but the young O's retook the lead in the 44th minute through TJ Bello as the teams went in at the break with the young O's 2-1 up.
Yeah, the second half saw chances for both teams, but the O's sealed the win in the 87th minute as Abdi Mohammed made it 3-1 to the young O's, which is how the game finished. So well done to the young O's.
Yeah, love to see it.
Lovely.
Brilliant. Well done. Main eventing on Saturday was Northampton Town at home, a.k.a. the Kevin Nolan Derby.
And possibly Scott McLeish Derby.
Yes, I think you're probably right.
I think there's probably others.
Probably others.
But that's the two. Before the game, as always, we run a Twitter poll from Thursday night for about 36 hours to see how you think the O's will get on. And after 201 votes, 16% thought we'd draw, 17% thought we'd lose, and an overwhelming 67% thought that we'd win. So thanks to everyone who took a moment to cast their vote.
All right, before kick-off, Jamie Donnelly was presented with the award for Goal of the Month February for his goal against Manchester City. So well done to Jamie Donnelly there. The team was announced at 2 o'clock with Keeley in between the sticks, Galbraith, Reg, Simpson and Sweeney making up the back four, Pratley and Brown in the middle of midfield, Donnelly, Williams, Abdullah and Adji making up the 11 with Phillips, Cooper, Clare, Ball, DJ, Perkins and Kelman on the bench. It meant 4 changes, I believe, from Tuesday night's defeat at Rotherham. So, Bid Legende, your views on that lineup?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much as expected. I find it interesting that Abdullah starts on the left. He's due another big performance. You know, like you mentioned earlier, he's not put in one akin to the Exeter performance since. So, you know, he did well there on the left. Kelman being rested makes sense. Surprised, obviously, but it does make sense. And I thought Clare might go in at right back, rest Donnelly, and move Galbraith into the 10. That's what I had on my Fan Hub team prediction. But when you think about it, Sean Clare's only played 10 minutes of football. That week he played at Rotherham, played a few minutes the week before. He's not quite ready for that yet. So I understand why that didn't happen. But yeah, you?
Yeah, similar to you. I think when she kind of alluded to maybe doing that, which is why I think we all rushed to that conclusion.
I didn't hear that.
In his post-match, he kind of he mentioned it, and you're thinking, yeah, that's what I would do. He mentioned Donny was fatigued. He mentioned Adji was 50-50, so you can't trust his post-match, his pre-match, sorry. You can't trust it whatsoever. It's just gubbins, really, to try and throw the opposition off guard, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right.
But yeah, I thought Clare might start. I thought Galbraith might be pushed up. Donny might be rested. I was surprised to see Kelman rested. I know he's fatigued, but he really is the only out-and-out 9. I know you actually can play there. I know Azine has played there. It doesn't mean they should play there.
Yeah.
It just looked a bit square pegs and round holes. Like, you saw that lineup and you thought, okay, like, who's actually taking that 9? Could it be Adji? And you're thinking, if it is Adji, why is it Adji? Because he's been really effective as the 7.
And coming in.
And you're thinking, Randall's started for us on the left. So is he on the left? And if he's on the left, then Azim's on the right. But I've never seen Azim play on the right. I've only seen Azim playing on the left. And he's a centre midfielder.
Yeah.
So it felt like a very square peg and a few kind of round holes. And obviously you still got centre midfielder and Galbraith playing as a right back as well. Only other thing for me is McCarnday.
Great shout. I missed
Where's he gone?
Over Perkins as well.
Well, we started on Tuesday. It's taken off after 66 minutes. Criticised a bit by the fan base. A quiet game. Is he injured? Is he left out of the squad? I don't know. I presume he's left out of the squad because David didn't ask in the question about Dylan. So I presume he's not injured. I presume when you've got DJ, Perkins and Kelman on the bench, you can't put another 5th attacking player on there at the expense of Cooper, who deserves to be on the bench, Clare, again, who gives you a fullback option or a centre midfield option, and Ball, who can play defence or midfield. So I presume McCarney just doesn't make the cut unless he is injured, but I don't know.
We won't know either.
All right.
Because it wasn't us. James O'Hagan tweeted us and said, Kelman needed a break. Glad to see Simpson back in defence. A solid lineup and bench that covers all positions. Bring it on. Is Markande injured?
No idea.
I think it's just probably just been left out of the squad.
I think so.
Which for me is shocking when you consider, with all due respect, that Perkins, who hasn't really affected anything much, I'd find Markande more impactful than Perkins.
Yeah, I would more than likely.
Off the back of all of that.
Agree with you. AMZ LOFC pioneering this guy for Obiero. He's mentioned Obiero in the last 2 weeks. It's once again Obiero nowhere to be seen. Surely he has to go on loan over the summer. It's clear the coaching staff don't rate him.
Yeah, there's something not right there.
I agree. Obviously you've got Ball, you've got Clare. If Obiero isn't making the squad, then why not just loan him out if that's the case? But everyone keeps saying how good Obiero is. And he's had a pretty decent season when he's played.
I've got a comment about that after this game, so I'm going to move on.
Okay.
I'm not going to comment anymore on that, but I agree.
Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned for another 20 minutes. Vince Howard 73 said Abdullah is a central attacker with Ajay and Williams wide ? Good to see Simpson starting. Just hope it's not too soon.
Good point about Simpson.
But why rush him though? I don't think Cooper's the answer. But if Jack Simpson's not match fit and not match sharp, but Cooper is, why start it? Why not start him for the benefit of the betterment of the team? I'm not a big fan of Brandon Cooper as a defender. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but as a defender, I'm not his biggest fan. But you're putting a half-cocked Jack Simpson in, as in half-cocked as in he's only just come back from injury, and yet you're not going to rush Sean Clare back in.
I was just going to make the point to you. Sean Clare is a different injury for Sean Clare, so maybe it's apples and pears in terms of the injury and the rehabilitation, possibly. However,
but it's
like
match
you
sharpness,
said,
match fitness.
Yeah.
That neither of them have because they both haven't played enough.
100%.
So how is it one thing for one and one thing for another?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get that. Anyway.
Yeah, good point there. Deals_DZN. Again, new Twitter handle. So welcome to everyone who's listening for the first time or tweeting for the first time. Says, would like to see Galbraith back in midfield, to be honest. He's got much more of an impact in there. And also, where's Dylan?
Big question mark.
All right, Northampton, go on.
Yeah, Northampton Town got the game underway in a bright and sunny E10 with the O's needing a win to get their playoff hopes back on track after 4 straight defeats.
It was nice to be at Brisbane Road without having to wear a jacket.
Oh, summery day.
Get the arms out again.
Spring day, yeah.
The shorts almost came out. Not quite yet, though. Not quite yet. Fair to say, the visitors had a sharper start than Orient. They won 3 back-to-back corners. And from the 3rd and the 10th minute, a corner was swung in from Taylor right into the danger zone. And Tyler Roberts got ahead of Jaden Sweeney to head home from close range and make it 1-0 to Northampton.
Why is Sweeney marking him? Total mismatch in terms of physical presence, height, size. He was never going to win against Tyler. He was never going to win any battles. Tyler's taller and he's wider and he's stronger. He's more physical than Jaden, bless him. But yet Darren Pratt is the spare man, and he should be, or Simpson should be, or Red should be, not Jaden Sweeney. So I think he's been set up to fail there. But it's a total mismatch of ability and athleticism there. Another goal from a corner from a set piece routine. Easy goal. Anyone that watches our highlights would see that and go, right, we'll do that. No problem. That's one goal. Where the other's going to come from? Next.
I feel...
It's infuriating.
Josh Keely's had a great season, and undoubtedly and unashamedly, his goal transformed the season against Oldham. I think if he doesn't come up and score a header, I feel like we'd be in a relegation battle, and Richie Reynolds might not even be in the job. I think he's had that much of an impact this season. However, there's definitely a problem starting here, which I'd never noticed previous to Charlton, where we shouldn't even be having a conversation about Jaden Sweeney losing out to Roberts, because Keely, as the keeper, should be coming out and just punching that ball away, because it is that close to him. But he barely leaves his line. And whether that's because his confidence has taken a massive hit against Charlton, whether that's always been the case, I don't think so, because if that was before the Charlton game, I guarantee you Keely comes out for that ball, because the goal that we conceded to Charlton, the first goal, where Keely comes and completely misses it, is further out than what he's come for that ball against Northampton. So whether Richie said to him, look mate, stay on, whether Royce or McCormack or Terry said to him, stay on your line, because when you come for it, you ain't the best at it, we're going to have to work on it, so stay on your line if that comes in, or whatever. But Keely, for me, everyone will blame Sweeney on that, and when you watch it, you go, yeah, what's Sweeney doing? But yeah, I need to watch that goal again. Like, where is Simpson and where are Reg? Like, your two big, strong centre-backs. Who are they marking? And where's Josh? Like, why is Josh Keely rooted to his line? Because once Roberts wins that header, the power he's going to elevate on that header from that close range, Keely is going to have to make a world-class save to stop it, and it's too much to ask of him in that scenario. And we're 1-0 down, and it's another corner. And again, if you're Steve Bruce and your scouts say it, and you've done your homework and watched the last 3 Orient games, you're like, boys, just get set pieces, get corners, and literally just whack it at their keeper, because their keeper ain't coming for that ball.
Yeah,
easy.
I agree.
Easy, but disappointing start, I think it's fair to say.
Totally, very disappointing start. Charlie Galvin said 10 minutes in and we're 1-0 down. We haven't strung 2 passes together. We look so poor on the corners and somewhat in our own heads. Need to sharpen up very quickly to avoid feeling like everything we've built with this run-in is crumbling around us.
Though Lewis, I honestly have no idea why we don't leave players up when we concede a corner. Just inviting the opposition to pile in makes no sense.
Our first effort on target came in the 16th minute from Dan Ajay, but it was weak and it didn't really trouble Burge.
It didn't. In the 18th minute, a long clearance from Josh Keeley found Danaji, who drove into the box. Shot got deflected out for the first O's corner of the game, but that came to nothing.
24 minutes on the clock and Randall Williams went close to an equaliser. He got the ball following some nice Orient play, cut inside from the right onto his left foot and sent a curling effort towards goal, with Burge beating the ball cannoned back off the crossbar.
That was a hell of an effort.
Hell of an effort, for sure.
When you watch back on the highlights, 'cause obviously we sit in the south, and obviously it happens down the north end. Watch back on the highlights, he clearly is looking for that top bins.
Yeah.
You see him look up and take aim for it. That would have been an absolutely worldy, and he was so close to it.
It's goal of the month of March sorted, if that is.
But what a shot! He's so unlike. Again, we'll talk about luck, right? Those moments. Those fine margins, just not happening for us at the moment.
It's not dropping for us. You're absolutely right. We went close to an equaliser though in the 39th minute after some good build-up play. Led to Jalen Sweeney finding Dana J. He took a touch, turned and fired the ball at goal. It hit the inside of the far post and bounced out. Moments.
Talk about luck, right? Talk about luck.
Just moments.
I mean, Adji does very well. His first touch is very good. Gets to space.
It's crisply passed into him.
Yeah.
Sweeney finds him with a really firm pass.
Great touch. I mean, Burge is nowhere near that. Burge is absolutely miles away from it. And again, if that's 4 weeks ago, it's the outside of the post and goes into the back of the net. And it's 1-1. And the crowd's behind him. Different game. But no, not to be our day again. Josh Creedy made a good save in the 42nd minute from Taylor's volley from outside the area. I think that might have been one for the cameras. Like, he hit it well enough, but
I think Josh should have had handled that. I understand all this parrying away malarkey. Don't get it. They all do it. I don't understand it. I mean, obviously, I've never played at any kind of particular level, but surely it came at distance. He had time to adjust himself. He's down to his right. I don't understand the parry rather than the save.
fair.
Jack Simpson picked up a book in a minute later for some fisticuffs. I didn't quite catch everything that happened there, but I think he hit one of the other players, I think
if he hits him, it must be red. I think they were. We couldn't work out what was going on.
Shoved him or something.
It must have just been a very playful shove to get a booking. Because if the ref's seen it, which he must have done to give him a yellow, it can't have been any more than a playful nudge. Because if it was any kind of violent conduct, he's getting a red
card. Yeah.
For it. Jack Simpson's day was about to get a whole lot worse as Northampton doubled their lead. I mean, we were literally passing it around, like, comfortable in possession. Reg gets the ball, an easy pass to Jack Simpson, right? Like, it's a straightforward pass to Simpson. Simpson miscontrols it, like, just fluffs his lines, and then McGeehan's in behind him, drives forward, gets into the box, past Josh Keeley, make it 2-0. I mean, that's a very, very, very poor goal to concede defensively. Also, I think Keeley was disappointed because it's not out of Keeley's reach, is it? It definitely catches Keeley as it goes in.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I thought he came out too far to it, maybe. I thought positionally he went too close to it, which meant that he didn't have as much thinking time. And then he sticks his leg out, in fairness to it, but it just goes straight. But I thought he might get a touch on that. But, I mean, that's just poor from Jack Simpson. The miscontrol was just absolutely shocking. But I thought Keeley probably should have done a bit better.
Had Keeley saved that, I think Jack Simpson would have been buying them drinks all evening. But McGeehan scored against us earlier in the season in the return leg fixture. He's a good player. Always pops up against us, McGeehan.
Yeah.
At that point, you're looking and thinking, we ain't getting back into this.
No.
One additional minute of time was played. No further talking points. Ref brought the half to an end with the O's trailing 2-0 down. Yeah,
just over 8,900 in attendance for this one, with just over 1,200 in the away end. I think for me that's the worst half of football I've seen in ages. No one's winning their battles. Poor passing, miscontrolling the ball, looking like rabbits in headlights at times. Doesn't seem to be any cohesion. Everything we've worked so hard since November, December, through January and into February, all gone out the window, looking like a bunch of players that have just met for the first time in the car park outside. Terrible. Don't understand what's going on there. And it's not like we've had a wholesale change here. It's not like he's rotated a whole 11. Tweaks here and there, but they're professional enough and they've been together long enough and trained enough together and heard enough Richie Wellens team talks together to know what's expected and what's required. How's it suddenly all gone to pot? How are we suddenly putting in these performances? Notwithstanding our punishing schedule, we're not the only team that's had a punishing schedule. Northampton have also had a schedule. Rotherham have also had a schedule. Charlton have also had a schedule. It's not just an Orient problem, it's an everyone problem. But yet they turn up, they press us. They turn up, they control the ball. They turn up, they pass the ball. They know where they're meant to be. They know that they're coming on for a high press because we like to play out. Didn't understand half of the passing out from the back. Booting it upfield, just get it upfield. Let's go. Let's get it onto a J. Let's put the pressure on. They got big boys. I mean, their big boys their defenders were literally folding us in half. And the referee gave nothing all game. Poor referee. I thought another poor referee. Looked a little bit out of his depth. Needed to get a bit more control, especially on the time wasting that we come on to later on. But yeah, it just other teams are at it and we're not. And there's a certain element of fatigue and tiredness in the players. Don't get me wrong, I understand that. But there's no excuse for not doing the basics right.
Yeah, agree with you.
In my opinion.
Good point about the schedules, because a lot of the teams around us have had the kind of a similar.
We're not the only one
schedule.
playing Tuesday, Saturday, Saturday. There's other fixtures going on Tuesday, Saturday.
And there's more. I clocked, and I don't clocked before. There's more fixtures this Tuesday, and we've obviously got a week off. But I think Charlton are playing on Tuesday again. Bolton are playing on Tuesday again. So I guess it evens itself out. At the end of the season, you've all played the same amount of games.
The only one that you might argue is Wrexham, that the EFL made us play that when we could have played that this Tuesday night.
And
as an example.
But we won.
But we've still got that minutes have come out the tank.
Of course.
We've spent those minutes.
Right.
So from a energy spent, preservation, whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you want to label it as, it could have been played in March when we've literally got no Tuesday night. No more Tuesday night. When it's a bigger month, so we've got more time to play it.
It did feel like a very lacklustre first half. I think it felt alright in the South Stand. Like, it didn't feel like that downhearted in the South Stand. Like, sometimes you've walked in there in the past, I definitely have, and been like, the atmosphere doesn't feel right today. It feels slightly off. Like, it doesn't feel like we're going to do anything. But it did feel like when the match kicked off, but the players didn't give us anything to go on, I would say, especially in that first half. Very poor. Conscious Flesh said Richie needs to take some responsibility. All these goals from corners, insisting on playing Azim on the wing instead of in the middle, and Adji instead of the wing, where he shines. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a new Twitter account there as well. Welcome to you. Glenn Gatty tweeted and said, just because the sun is out, it doesn't mean it's the holidays. Too many players off it again. Will take some team talk to fix this.
Orient Meat Pie said, season over. Can't keep blaming injuries when the players out there are
messing the bed.
Every week, poor.
Andy, we can't read those bad words out, mate, but appreciate you tweeting us. There was one change at half-time as Jaden Sweeney was replaced by Charlie Kelman, which saw a reshuffle in the Orient lineup as Williams went to left-back and Orient got the second half underway. 3 minutes into the half, Azim Abdullahi fired a strike just wide of the post from distance.
Let me ask you a question about Sweeney.
Yeah, go on.
Pulled it for half-time.
Yeah.
Correct decision?
He didn't have a great half, but he wasn't the worst one there.
Yeah.
The problem you've got is I would have pulled Simpson off because he's obviously not match ready. I think that Sweeney obviously can't go in at left back, and it's almost he's the sacrificial lamb for it. So it's difficult. I know I'm in a minority here. Of people who like Jaden, but I appreciate if we've got aspirations of playing in the Championship, that he might not be the left back that's going to take us there. But by no means was he the worst player on the pitch. But like I said, you couldn't take Simpson off and move Sweeney to left centre back because that's an imbalance. Yeah. Regardless of what happened, so.
I mean, Randall did play there for Bolton, didn't he? So I remember when he come,
he doesn't like,
but he has done it.
But so he can do it.
And I don't think he done too badly actually. To be fair, but yeah, good point. I think Sweeney wasn't worse, and anyone else.
Anyone
really.
else? No, not really.
On the pitch, Azim fired just wide of the post from distance. 3 minutes into the half, decent, but always going wide, I would say. But better intent already in the second half from the O's.
Yeah. We'll skip to the 57th minute now as a cross from Roberts beat Ethan Galbraith really easily. Got into a good position, smacked the ball towards goal, deflected off McGeehan, but thankfully that went wide.
Yeah, Roberts
Looked dangerous.
That was his first goal in like a year, since like 2020, maybe even 2 years. First goal from Northampton, first goal in about a year. We were making him look like prime Cantona Zidane. Like he had Galbraith on toast. Like in that run, he makes Galbraith look like he's not even there. Disappointing, but 3 minutes later we were off our seats as the O's pulled a goal back as a Josh Keeley long block field was won by the head of Kelman. Dan Adji got the ball, beating his defender. He headed it forward and Kelman was in. Kelman held off his defender, took a touch and calmly slotted past Burge into the far corner of the net to get the O's back into the game. Make it 2-1. Lovely finish from Charlie Kelman. A much harder finish than the one he's fluffed on Tuesday, right?
How'd you do that? That's such a Ruel Satiriou kind of goal. How he fluffs the easy one but scores the hard one. Superb from him.
Really
and
good.
I love the fact that he was geeing up the south stand as well. Encouraging us on midway through. But no, you're right. Lovely finish. Good anticipation from him. Beat the offside trap. Good header from a J. Good assist from him. And he was being pursued by a Northampton defender who was pulling him back and he was strong. He held off and good finish.
Really good finish.
If I was Burge, I'd be really disappointed.
At that point, you're like, we've got half an hour now, so it's definitely all to play for, all right? So straight after that, we were putting the pressure on. Randall Williams put in a great cross, swung in from the left. Kelman nodded the ball down to Donnelly, but Burge rushed out to claim the ball. Couldn't have Charlie. Could Charlie have actually headed it towards goal? He weren't that far away from...
That's exactly what he should have done. Wrong decision.
Yeah, I think so.
Wrong decision. I think, or maybe Burge saves it with a comfortable catch, maybe. I don't know. But that decision that he made obviously wasn't the right one.
Agreed, totally.
67 minutes on the clock now. Back-to-back corners for the O's. Saw Dana J head the second over the crossbar.
Yeah, 2 minutes later, good footwork from Dan again. So I'm driving to the box. He nutmegged his man, putting a cross with the outside of his boot. Lovely cross. Didn't make it to a no-show.
I like that cross. Yeah, that was a good cross, that one, with the outside of the boot.
He's just so much more effective as the 7.
Yeah.
Like, he obviously started as the 9. Richie, to be fair, saw it wasn't working. Gets him on the wing, and then fullbacks cannot handle him. Like League One fullbacks do not seem to be able to handle Dan Adji on the wing. When he's running at him, he's strong, he's quick.
Awkward and he's quick. You can't get the ball off him.
Yeah.
72 minutes now, second Orient substitution as Darren Pratley was replaced by Sean Clare.
Yeah, 4 minutes later, the third sub followed as Jamie Donnelly was replaced by DJ and Jordan Brown was replaced by Don Ball in our fourth sub.
Yeah, final sub for the O's came 10 minutes later as Azim Abdullah was replaced by Sonny Perkins.
Yeah, 4 minutes for Perkins. I'm not sure what Perkins is going to do, but saying that though, didn't he score after like 16 seconds when he came against Barnsley or something? So, remarkably, we all thought there'd be about 7 or 8 minutes go up on the board at the 90th minute due to just time wasting, basic tomfoolery from Northampton and other gubbins. Only 4 minutes of time went up on the board. Late in the third minute, Dan Adji got on the right, put in a cross. It was missed by everyone. The ball came out to DJ, whose goal-bound shot was well blocked by Pinnock. I actually think that was going in.
That was going in, 100%. Pinnock has saved his side 3 points.
Yeah, Burge weren't going to save that. I think that was going to hit the net. I think that's a match-saving block.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Can't believe it.
That was exactly going in. We were all out of our seats there.
Talk about moments again.
Yeah. When your luck's in, it's in, and when it's not, it's really not.
Really.
But DJ did everything right there. I've got no criticism of DJ there.
DJ's been alright since he's got on the pitch, like remarkably, considering again, September, October, you're going, what is this? Why is he here? Like he's actually done alright in terms of kind of turning some fan perception around on him. So fair play to DJ.
So do you think then that he should probably start on the wing instead of Abdullah?
What, for Saturday?
Just in general.
And
give him a bit of a run. Because he's rested. He's not played enough football to be tired.
Possibly. I know enough to go, I would play Adji on the right, Coleman as my 9, and then left could be anyone out of Randall, Azim, or DJ. And when he's back, hopefully, because it's gone quiet on him again, Odie O'Neill, who... No
be back
update on
anytime.
Ollie.
Yeah, should be back any time.
But again, Ollie's not going to appear on the starting lineup. He's going to appear on the bench.
Yeah, of course.
And gradually be phased back. So
yeah,
it's interesting. But knowing Richie, right, he's probably, again, as he's listening to this, because I know you listen on a Monday morning, Richie, like I know you do, thinking about what he's going to do against Blackpool. And so when I'm going, Coleman as a line, he's probably going, no, I'm not going to do that because I've seen a weakness in Blackpool and I'm going to do this here, that there.
And this one needs a rest or that one needs that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, interesting.
Just views. Shortly after the referee blew the full-time whistle and the O's slipped to a 2-1 defeat and now 5th in a row as our playoff hopes were dealt another strong blow.
They were. I must confess, I walked out on the final whistle again because you could tell they were going to. Northampton were going to stay there and celebrate it again, like a massive result for them. So had it with Charlton right from the full-time whistle because I didn't need to see Nathan Jones jump into the away end and see their fans dancing.
But that's a mark of how far we've come. That we are such a threat to the Charltons and the other like in our team.
Yeah.
That we are a massive kind of impact on their season. Effect, in my opinion, the way I look at it. All right, maybe that was just a lot of tense pressure. Release on Nathan Jones, that's fine. Like if you think you've won something here, that's up to you. You've beaten Leyton Orient, great. If that's how good you think we are, I'll take that all day long.
Big win for them. And when I left, I heard them doing the hey, whereas obviously no one's doing the old fist pump into them.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Kevin. You mean Charlton? Or
no, yesterday when I left,
I saw Kevin Nolan doing that, but I didn't see.
One of them was doing that, mate. Whether that was a player or Nolan. But I can't be facing this one again. All right, that defeat. Actually, Richie's interview. It's on social media. He actually, for the first time in his Orient tenure, apologised.
Yeah.
To the fans. I think he knows that's not good enough, which is good. As we all know, that isn't good enough.
Yeah.
So that defeat means the O's stay in 9th place in League One. 7 points now for the playoffs. As Bolton won, Charlton drew. But Huddersfield slipped out and obviously sacked their manager this morning. Drawn 5, lost 15, 53 points. Goal difference, still very healthy for goal difference of plus 14. So, Beard Legende, your views on Northampton Town yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, arguably one of the worst football games I've seen from us in quite some time, to be honest with you. No composure, poor control, poor passing, poor decision making, and the lack of energy and desire, the basics that you kind of need to turn up with to kind of just to be ticking over, really. Apart from the energy, I'm not accepting Rich's explanation about the schedule. Just the basics just weren't right there, and that's not on him. You know, it's not his fault that Jack Simpson miscontrolled it. It's not his fault that the players, once they cross the white line, make mistakes, switch off, don't track, don't do whatever it is. I don't know what's going on, but we've switched back to how we were before we went on now on our amazing little run. What I will say is, though, Richie admitted in our last game that Donnelly needed a rest and then started this game, which is why we said at the start of this review that we thought that Clare would go right, and I hadn't listened to his pre-match, I just hadn't got around to it, that Clare would go right back and Galbraith would go further up the field. I mean, at one point, I remember Sean Clare passed it out for a throw-in.
That's right, yeah. I mean, Clare didn't have his best. I mean, obviously.
I don't mean to pick on him, but that's just a stand-up moment for me.
Oh, there were I guess if we look back on the game, you could pick out loads of like misplaced pass. Like they were all misplacing passes, especially in that first half. But yeah, Clare did have one pass where there was one where Jordan Brown got it and played across the field ball
to no one.
Didn't even look up, just played across the field ball, and there was no one there.
He expected Randall Williams to be there,
but there's just no one there.
Yeah, and we went out for a throw-in, absolutely. And what's Zach Obiero got to do to get a game? He can't get one when everyone's knackered. And we need rotation, we need fresh legs, and we need fresh bodies. The guy's not played, but yet he's highly thought of and highly regarded. What's going on with Zach? Surely he deserves at least to be on the bench. At least, if he's not getting game time. Not even in the squad, and no comment or thought on him. I just don't understand, and we loosely touched on this earlier, but you know, Zach's a promising player. There's something, again, he's not injured because it's not been spoken about. And I don't think the playoffs are achievable now because you've seen Charlton hit form, Bolton have hit form, and they're that occupied the last two spots. Do I think Huddersfield get there? Probably not now that they've sacked their manager. Do Reading get there? Probably not, looking at their last 6 games. They've won 2, drawn 4. So although they haven't They haven't lost any. They're not exactly setting the league on fire. They're a couple of points ahead of us with a game in hand over us. So they're probably playing to Tuesday night as well. Not setting me on fire, but the Boltons and the Charltons have hit form recently. So it's probably not going to be the end of the season that we thought we might have done a couple of weeks ago. We'd have to go on some mammoth run to get there. For you?
Just very poor. Like, I'll give you a classic example. Your nephew was sitting next to me yesterday watching the Sidemen game. That was much more enjoyable than watching the Orient game. And it shouldn't have been. Like, the team didn't really captivate anything yesterday. I've missed a lot of the first half of the season, so I can't speak about the entirety of the season. But that was definitely the worst first half I've seen since I've returned, I guess, to Orient. Since in 2025, I would say that first half was poor. They were all off it, apart from maybe Agi, potentially. Like, they weren't anywhere near their best, and that was against the Northampton team who 17th, 18th coming into it. We made them look brilliant. No fight, no urgency. Yeah, difficult schedule, like you said, but these like professional athletes. Like that's what they're paid to do. They're young men. They've got amazing facilities. That's what they do. That's what they get paid a king's ransom to do. You know, any one of us would love to do it. So, yeah, disappointing. It felt. I think I've said it. It feels like a bit of square pegs in round holes. Yeah. Where come on now, let's just put the right players in the right positions and use them to their strengths. I know the hand's been forced on Galbraith, but Azim again on the wing, Agi in the middle to start with. You're thinking this isn't. You're not playing to our strengths. I know you look and see where the opposition's weaknesses are, but at the same time, play to our strengths.
100%.
I will say, I don't know what's going on with the ball boys at Orient, but there didn't seem to be many yesterday. There seemed to be several occasions where the ball went out of play and nobody was getting it. So, I don't know what the ball boys are doing. But I do appreciate, and we've mentioned already, that the back four are missing. And if you've got a back four of Beckles, Happy, Curry and James, you probably don't concede that first goal. Realistically, you don't concede that first goal. And it turns out to be a very different game. Unfortunately, I think I just ended it by saying this is threatening to get out of a whimper. Exactly the same as last season. The key difference though with last season is our recruitment in January, apart from Ollie O'Neill, was pretty poor. And you saw it coming. You're like, we've got two strikers who aren't going to bring anything to the table. Really, as harsh as what it sounds, we ain't going to be able to keep this up with the injuries we've got. Whereas in this January, you signed Reg, you signed Randall Williams,
Azim,
and you sign Azim. And you come out of January even better than what you were going into it with promising results, and everyone goes, actually, we're not going to make the same mistake again. And ultimately, we made the same mistake again. Yeah. For all intents and purposes. Like, it's exactly the same. I sat here at the beginning of the season saying, we're not going to go on another run at the midway point in the season because that won't happen against Orient. Yeah. And yet we went on an even better run, play even better football, scored even better goals, strengthened in January that we were all moaning about that we didn't do last year, and they fluffed it again. Yeah. Like, they fluffed it. Like, yesterday was the game where you go Birmingham away, alright, expect to lose that one. Who's after Birmingham? Was it Charlton? Charlton, going to be very difficult, might do right in that one.
Rotherham.
Fluff it. Rotherham, you go, big club, be difficult, should do it. Fluff it. Northampton Town, I will definitely beat Northampton Town because they're 18th and Nolan's not a great manager. Fluff it.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
So, yeah, really disappointing. I hope we turn it around.
So those were our views on the disappointing result against Northampton Town. We move on now to your views, and we had quite a lot of feedback on this one as well. E10_Rifles starts us off and said, from promotion form to relegation form with 5 straight defeats, Orient doing an Orient again.
Charles is Techno, you cannot gift 2 goals to the opposition, a free header in the 6-yard box and a slip at the back and expect to get anything. We were poor throughout and never got to the levels we are capable of. And unfortunately, despite getting back into the match, we had insufficient desire. That's a good point. Insufficient desire.
Yeah, that's right. The Untold Game said Northampton are a poor team and they were better than us in every single department today. Shocking.
Kid Sampson, proper oriented this up. Officials were appalling, but we haven't got anyone but ourselves to blame. Abysmal first half performance and too many players who just aren't up to playoff standard in the division.
LOFC Loza said, we played long ball against a big physical side. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, good point. Richie J. Ball, 5 defeats in a row. You can take a loss against Birmingham and Bolton, but Rotherham and Northampton outworked us, got into us, and we couldn't handle them. Set piece disaster again. A big Achilles heel which needs sorting ASAP. A tactical rethink needed.
El Hangle said, putting the frustrations today to one side, I think we can say that the FA Cup has both made and broken this season for us. The preparations for next season begin now. I hope we can keep Richie for this project.
Unfortunately, Boatsy says, unfortunately, I think our playoff push is over. To lose in the manner we did was unacceptable. To lose 5 in a row is not playoff form. I think our injuries and our schedule has really cost us a chance this season. Must not let season peter out.
Doyle_Hooper said, gutting watching the season peter out. Individual errors cost us. It feels like square pegs in round holes. Ajay is so effective down the right, but quiet up top. Galbraith at right back when we're struggling for a spark in midfield, and Azim not in the game out wide. It's just baffling.
Good points there. Garrico 7, woeful performance. We need investment for the summer. Time to move on the likes of Sweeney, an honest player, but not good enough at the level.
Yeah.
Kelman was the only positive from the day. At least we aren't in a relegation scrap and playing like this.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We're not in a relegation scrap. We are safe. And he's right. Sweeney's an honest player, but maybe I'm just blinded because I like a homegrown player.
Yeah,
and I see talent in there, but yeah, maybe he's not quite good enough. Matty LOFC Evans said, the season is over, about consolidating with a mid-table finish and hopefully getting this major investor over the line. It's not been a bad season, far from it, but it's the what could have been that hurts the most.
Yeah, good point. Painting Orient far too error-strewn against a side with their own severe limitations. Corners was unsurprisingly targeted from the off, and you just know it's bad when Richie descends onto the touchline and he stays there. I'd like to know where an extra 10 minutes or so of injury time went to.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. Their man was down for a few minutes of that.
Silly.
Theo Archibald said Jaden Sweeney could score a hat-trick and 90% of the fan base would be calling for his head. Not saying he was great out there, but he's literally just a scapegoat now. That's a tweet I never thought I'd see. And the replies to this will just be, he's shocking and League 2 level.
Good tweet.
Yeah, great tweet, Theo Archibald. And great
Orient
tweet.
_Ed said very, very poor today. Only Adji and Kelman came away with any credit. Confidence is on the floor and it is showing. Conceded from another corner. This one the easiest of the lot. Still, at least we have a nice trip to the seaside next and we have no midweek game.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Dirk Turk said, season was over last weekend. The manner of the defeat meant there was no way we was picking ourselves up to go again. Shame, as it was all there for us to comfortably make the playoffs. Another big rebuild again this summer. It's true. So many out of contract and so many returning to... It's like a whole other team that we need to rebuild with.
It is absolutely huge. Ian Hutchison, 08, so frustrating. Performance was so poor. Evident one team had nothing to play for and one team was trying to climb away from the bottom. Northampton wanted every ball tackle and showed so much commitment to the cause and the O's went through the motions. Ref was defo on something.
Yeah, Conway _Nigel said the substitutions made us much worse. I actually thought that after Kelman scored we were going to be getting something, but it all went pear-shaped from there on. Roll on next season.
Bogstolix 1 said ever since the 80s we've played Northampton a lot, either in Division 1 or 2, and every time they play at Brisbane Road it's the same dour, hard-working, high-press they employ, and a succession of Orient managers have failed to beat it. Today was so poor tactically, and that's down to Richie.
LOFC Teresa said, I'd like to know what happened when Pratley wanted Donnelly to join the three-man wall in the first half, and Donnelly pulled away. Pratley had to get someone else instead. Didn't look good. I saw that.
Oh, I didn't.
First of all, Pratley, I didn't see that it was Donnelly that pulled away, but what I did see was, first of all, Pratley's like, how many do you want? To Josh Creed, he had to ask him 3 times, and then it was just him and Randall Williams, I think. Pratley and one other. Oh no, then Randall Williams gets pulled into the wall, or Jaden was going to, and it was just like, who was meant to be in the wall? I don't understand why that's not rehearsed.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
Good spot,
Parksy,
Teresa.
1881, penultimate tweet this week goes, my hot take, Donnelly was off the pace against Charlton and Richie recognised he wasn't at it against Rotherham, yet played him. Sweeney isn't to blame, but no Curry has unbalanced our whole system offensively. And finally, maybe we didn't need a cup run after all.
Couple of, just before we get to the final word, couple of messages that came in on Blue Sky. It said, P.A. O'Donnell said, tough watch, too many mistakes and out-muscled too often. We looked a bit better when we actually tried to play on the ground, but they, helped by the ref, managed to stop a game of football breaking out.
Alright, Ox Ooch said we flew too close to the sun. The only question is whether we have already crashed into the sea or if we can find the strength to ascend again.
That's a prophetic
tweet.
That very, very profound there from you, sir. But the final tweet and the final word goes to Sean Slater, THFC, who said team seems unsettled now with changes to the lineup each week. The loss of Beckles and Happy has been huge. Disappointing few weeks.
Yeah, right. Lots of tweets in this episode reacting to both Rotherham and Northampton Town. Let us know if you agree or disagree. You can do it via all our social media channels. You can tweet us at Orient Outlook. You can send us a blue sky, like we have just mentioned, Orient Outlook Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Orient_Outlook_podcast. And you can find us on Facebook at Orient Outlook Podcast. And if you don't do social media, you can send us an old-fashioned email and find us at orientoutlook@outlook.com.
Well played. So, Prediction League update then. Well done to Tyler_Ben68, who correctly predicted the result and got 3 points. Didn't guess the scorer. That means the top of the Prediction League is as follows.
Yeah, 29 points. Theo Archibald in. He's miles ahead of Clark XC and at Toulouse fans in second place on 19 points. They're followed by Rob JB1974 on 18 points and Strop_O, who has got 17 points. Thank you to everyone for your predictions, and the full table can be found on our Facebook page.
Indeed it can. Sunday the 9th of March now, as that wraps up Saturday's activities. Happy Super Richie Wellens Day. 3 years ago today, Richie joined Leyton Orient as head coach, and here's hoping for many more years to come.
Yeah, 3 years it's been.
We've made so much progress from where we were when he took us to where we are now. It is absolute progress.
I know, I mean, look at us on our stupid podcast moaning about missing out on like the League One playoffs, considering where we were
when he took us over,
yeah.
Towards the bottom end of
League Two. Yeah, we certainly were.
We've had a promotion,
we certainly were.
A stability, and a push at promotion at playoffs. So when you look at it in the much wider context, which I know some people do, it's not bad.
Yeah. Like I said before, this podcast is obviously a weekly podcast. It reacts to what happens on a weekly basis. So yeah, fair play. The ladies were in action today in the Greater London's top of the table clash at Hammersmith, which was played at Gunsbury Park. Both sides needed a win. The home club trying to keep the chasing pack at bay, and the O's needing to maintain a late season charge up the table. The game ended in a 1-1 stalemate, which damaged Hammersmith's title challenge, but has effectively put an end to the O's promotion prospects.
Yeah, the game was delayed by 30 minutes. There was no explanation. It didn't help the O's in timing our warm-up routine. The early minutes saw the E10 ladies pressing for early dominance, but 7 minutes in, Hammersmith hit a long clearance to a lone forward who was waiting in the O's half, was clearly offside. The whistle never came, so Kira Honor, in the away goal, rushed out to meet the forward and was judged to have fouled her, so a penalty was given and duly converted. Kira lost her record of not having conceded a goal in Orient's colours to a penalty which should never have been.
Right, the equaliser came though in the 24th minute from a corner taken by dead ball specialist Layla Crouch-Salmon, and she found Lucy Porter, whose thumping header gave the homekeeper no chance to make it 1-1.
Yeah, most of the game was an intriguing battle between the individual skills of the new look Orient side versus the ball playing into passing of the home team. There was never a should have scored moment for either side, although plenty of half chances were made by both teams.
The determination shown by everyone on the pitch resulted in a number of stoppages for injuries. Indeed, skipper Grace Alexander had to leave the action after only 20 minutes. Star striker Lucy Porter also lasted only 24 minutes, having been clattered just before scoring. And Callie Balfour was upended in a dramatic fashion on the hour and couldn't continue. Top scorer Steph McCaffrey came off the subs bench after 61 minutes and lasted only 16 minutes. Not a game today for the faint-hearted.
Wow, that is action-packed. I hope all the ladies who got injured are okay. Such was the ill feeling on the pitch. Gemma Baker, probably Orient's most mild-mannered player, said a few words of constructive criticism to the referee and was yellow-carded and given a 10-minute cooling-off period in the sin bin. He later motioned for her to rejoin, and she was playing for about 4 or 5 minutes when he decided she had rejoined too early. 45 seconds too early, and promptly red-carded her. Orient's touchline staff tried to point out that he'd beckoned Gemma to rejoin, but he was having none of it. That did not improve the mood in the Orient camp, and that meant that our girls had to fight off Hammersmith for effectively the last 20 minutes of the match with just 10 players, which they did through guts and determination. So it's not only in the men's senior sides that you get calamitous refereeing.
So it ended the day's big game. Hammersmith will be distraught to learn that Camden Town won easily against Brentford and are only 5 points behind them with 3 games in hand. As for the O's, will be hard pressed to finish second. No game next week, but a home clash with Camden Town follows on Sunday the 23rd of March. Thank you to LOFCwomen.com for another tremendous roundup. And we look forward to bringing you our next roundup on the 23rd of March following the game against Camden Town. So 1 hour, 20 minutes, 18 seconds. Let's wrap up this bad boy podcast.
Yeah, we start with our fantasy football update. As always, Ross Gibson is top of the Orient Outlook podcast Premier Fantasy Football League. He's currently on 1,924 points, ahead of Conor Murray, who's in second place, but only 11 points behind on 1,913 points. Steve's 163rd out of 379.
Not bad, Not bad at all. G Hughes is top of the Orient Outlook podcast EFL Fantasy Football League on 2,819 points, ahead of T Cornwall in second place on 2,555 points. I'm in ninth place out of 42 players. So it's time for the positive of the week and the negatives of the week. One positive, and that is the youth team winning away at Luton Town 3-1. So well done to the young O's. And negatives, let's do it.
Yeah, so losing 2 games in a week is never a good thing.
Yeah, that is culminated now, losing 5 games on the bounce. Admittedly, some of those are unlucky, but once you get into this kind of losing streak, it's difficult to get that. And especially, again, with confidence dipping with those results, it's very hard to get that back.
Absolutely, and performance levels have dropped off as a consequence as well.
Yeah, and this might sound quite random, but our league position, which as a standalone as 9th in League One isn't bad, but obviously from where we were this time 2-3 weeks ago, we have dipped massively. So 4 negatives, 1 positive. It's time for our hero of the week. Pretty unanimous this week on Outlook Podcast Tower. So heroes of the week are
the youth team. Yeah, they're doing really well at the moment, and I don't think we've given it to them for quite some time, so well done to the youth.
Yeah, amazing win there for the youth team. All right, next week's fixtures, we are delighted to say there is only one game to tell you about next week, as the O's finally get a chance to have a bit of a rest. I think Richie said they're off for 3 days now, aren't they?
Yeah,
so he's giving them 3 days rest. Hopefully they come back to the training ground revitalised, ready to go and end at the season. Next game, Blackpool away, Saturday 15th of March. Blackpool 11th in League One. Going to be a tough game, this one. Yeah. They are in good form. They beat Barnsley away 3-0 on Saturday. I think they're 5 points behind us in the table, so it's not inconceivable that they could finish maybe above us if they beat us on Saturday. Last 6 they have 1-2.
They'd only get 51.
No, but like for the rest of the season, if that would give them the impetus. Last 6 they've only won 2, but they tend to draw a lot of games. The old Blackpool drawn 3 and only lost 1. Obviously managed by Steve Bruce.
Yep.
If you go in, have a safe journey. Mission. So well done if you go in, and don't forget to tweet us before, during, or after the game, and have a very safe journey.
Indeed. So it's a quick sponsorship reminder. Don't forget to get in touch with John and their fantastic team of experienced florists. You can call them on 0208 529 4130 or get in contact via social media at Carol Langley E4 or at Essex Biz on Twitter. They're also on Instagram at Carol Langley Florist, and search them also on Facebook. That is it.
That is it indeed. Thank you for joining us for episode 383. We have to say it, a very disappointing and poor week for the O's on the pitch, as we came away from 2 League One games pointless, with our playoff hopes seemingly gone for the season. Now Richie and his staff have an opportunity to revitalise the players and get the season back on track with the trip to Blackpool, and hopefully we'll be talking about a welcome return to winning ways in the next episode of the Orient Outlook podcast.
As always, if you're listening on iTunes, please subscribe, give the podcast a 5-star rating, or if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to rate the show. You can even leave a comment on each episode, so please do so if you get the chance, and don't forget to follow us or add us to your favourites on your chosen podcast provider, and that way you'll get all the episodes as soon as they're available. We're also on smart speakers, Fan Hub app, we're also on YouTube, so listening to us has not been easier. It can't be easier. And if you've got an older relative, a loved one, an Orient chum, someone who's new to Orient, who you think would like to be kept up to date with everything going on at the club, grab their phone, download it for them, and pass the pod.
Alright, we'll be back with episode 384 next week with all the information and views that you could ever need. We look forward to hearing from you, and as always, keep calm, stay safe, have a great week, and listen to the Orient Outlook podcast.
Up the O's.